And a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes on this holiday week. My name is Jeff Owens, Director at WEIU TV and Radio. My co-host is Corbin Cox. Welcome, Corbin.
Hello.
And today we are going to be talking to Charleston City Manager, Mr. Scott Smith. Welcome.
Hello, guys.
We're going to have that, you move that a little close to you or pulled in.
I'll scoot up.
Mayor Brandon Combs a little under the weather today, couldn't make it in, so hopefully we best wishes and get well before the holidays to Dr. Combs. Well, Scott, why don't we start talking a little bit maybe about recap some of what you think are some of the highlights for the city of Charleston as we wrap up this 2023 year.
Well, I'd say the one that's probably the most noticeable would be the development down south of Sister City at what we now refer to as the Linder Sports Complex. So, pretty big job that's taken us a couple years to. We're not 100% complete down there, but a significant portion of the work that we had planned is now complete, which was the development of the outdoor soccer complex, the new maintenance complex, and the new concession space. So,
when you people that don't know what you've done out there, can you talk about how many soccer fields you had and how many you have and things like that?
So we used to have soccer fields that were located at multiple locations throughout the community. We had a soccer complex, I guess you could call it, up behind Highcombe, which is up there north of town. And then we had soccer fields at churches and schools and this and that throughout the community, and we wanted to give soccer a permanent home. And Highcombe had said over the years that, you know, they'd like for us to find a more permanent location. And one of the challenges for soccer was that by having a lot of their games up there, there wasn't a central location for parents of all ages to meet, have concession, that type of thing. And that's a way for that program to generate income that they can put back into the program. So having a singular location for all age groups down at the Linder Sports Complex now provides them that to where they can run concessions and generate proceeds from the concessions to help fund their program.
Have they seen an increase in attention in terms of people wanting to have tournaments there?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
local people putting on tournaments?
Absolutely. And so, we think, it's kind of the build it, they will come mentality, but we've seen an increase in participation. I think there's definitely an increase in interest in soccer and youth soccer. I think it'll help their travel program. We've had other area soccer programs that maybe, for whatever reason, maybe weather or something wrong with their field or whatever, that have contacted Diane and want to use our site. We had a fall tournament, as you know, the Red and Gold tournament that we held as one of the bigger events we've had out there this fall that we held. And unfortunately, Mother Nature wasn't kind to us because the first 2 days it was like 100 degrees. So the IHSA said you can't have it on the first couple of days. But the teams did show up on Saturday. We had a great tournament. We had the Run for the Fallen event out there. And then several travel tournaments and just all kinds of practices and other things out there this fall. Diane reported on it, last week at our retreat, and it was just unbelievable, the numbers that we've had that have come out to the space to use it. So I'm happy about that.
That's a good start, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking at more events there for the coming year?
Yeah, Diane's got several ideas, special events and tournaments, and of course working with the youth soccer board on things that they want to do and they want to promote out there. So, and we're going to have the Red and Gold girls tournament in the spring. So we're excited about that too.
Other things that you were proud about for the city in 2023, or maybe recap some of the projects that you were either finishing up or did.
So that one, of course, was a big one. We're starting to do a little work on the trails up on the north side of the lake, so we're excited about that. A lot of sidewalk work and concrete patching, utility work, and we're really heavily into that right now. Our crews have spent a lot of time down at Sister City, so we're trying to get back on the saddle and do a lot of that work. So those are things that are important to us, obviously, is reinvesting in our underground utilities. So we're busy with that. We've got a lot of work left to do. Our fiscal year ends the end of April, so we've still got 4 months worth of work ahead of us to wrap up the fiscal year.
As you look at your last 4 months of fiscal year, is the budget in line to where you want it to be?
I would say right now we're holding our own, yeah. I think we're about where we thought we would be.
And that's always good news, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So the fiscal year doesn't end till April, but what do the next few weeks look like for you as we transition to the end of just 2023 in general?
So for us, it's kind of a calming time, I guess. We've got a lot of folks that typically take off, and so we'll slow down and do some of the maintenance stuff that we do typically this time of the year. But there's a lot of things that we have to do internally, year-end, reporting and year-end activities that we do throughout the organization that are required. So the next couple weeks we'll be focused on that. But
I know you did a retreat recently that kind of plans, I guess, prepares you for the next calendar or next fiscal year and calendar year. Tell us some of the highlights of the retreat and what you got out of it. Anything you can tell us?
Yeah, so last Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday was primarily staff reporting, presentations and staff reporting from all the direct reports, so all the division directors, police chief, fire chief, clerk, HR, Parks and Rec, IT, myself, finance, all the directors, planning, code enforcement, all that. They all went to Parks and Rec on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we get into some of the deeper discussions, deep dive stuff, personnel, strategic planning, long-range, short-range planning, internal evaluation, that type of thing. And so a lot of good things come out of that. We get some guidance from council on, maybe some projects, that we're looking at. Staff sometimes will share an idea or a concept and kind of get some feedback from council. So when it's time to put the budget together, we've had that discussion with council. It makes the budget process a whole lot easier. So, big things, obviously always looking at that capital plan. Water sewer rates next year I think will be minimal. So that's good news. But we're going to start getting hot and heavy on Douglas Drive. There'll be a major road improvement project down there. And then just a lot of other maintenance-oriented work, concrete patching, oil and chip. We're hoping to do more work out at Linder a little bit, here and there, and finishing up some of the little stuff, signage and things like that. Got a few areas that need some turf work. And then looking at the possibilities for additional expansion down there. We got a couple projects in mind, collaborations that we're working on. Pickleball is a big one that a lot of people want to see us move forward on. We've got a great concept. Steve did a great design on that. So that's just a dollar and cents sort of situation for us.
Where would that be at then if it was going to happen?
It'd be just north of the new maintenance building that's there on the east side.
Okay. I read something, I didn't go into detail today, about possible annexation of some land into the city of Charleston.
Yeah,
How does that work?
there's a project, and so we've got a couple annexations that are coming forward where annexed inside the corporate boundary to provide for services.
Okay.
So.
So looking back at the year, what would you say is one of the projects you're most proud of from the year?
I would say the Linder Sports Complex, obviously, for all the right reasons. It's a project that we started a few years ago. We got a lot of help from the Linder, from the Charleston Area Charitable Foundation that helped support that financially, and something that they were really eager to get done. And so our crews, primarily our Public Works Department and Parks Maintenance Division, were very heavily involved in that. And so real proud of that project. That's about a $4.5 million project. Took a couple years to get to where it's at today, and was really thrilled to get that open this fall.
Something else that Charleston recently is doing is called Safe Passage. Can you talk about that?
I'm sorry?
The Safe Passage, where I think it's something about where people can either turn in through the police department.
Oh, you're talking about like turning in the weapons and things of that nature.
Drugs,
Yes, yeah. I can't get into the details on that, but yes, we do have. We are working on that. Yes.
So it's going to happen, or is it?
Yeah, he's working on that, and that's something that they're working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get into that maybe next
I thought
time.
you were getting that confused with the drug box that we used to have. So.
Okay, I'm sorry. Downtown events seem to be working again, in Mattoon and Charleston, but Charleston's also done some great things downtown with some of these live music events. And it seems that live music is coming back to Coles County. Could you address downtown and the live
we've
music?
we've had primarily the Uptown are working, to bring in live events. That we closed down a portion of the street there on 7th Street. I think it was between Monroe and Madison. Quite a bit this summer, and they had quite a bit of live music there. And it seems to be a pretty popular thing. I know Lori Henderson, our tourism director, is working with Diane, and we'd like to do some additional events on the square. But live music is definitely something that I know that Mike and Stans has had a band or two there in their little garden there on the east side of their building. So. And I know that during the tour we had a live band there. So it's definitely something that is appealing and very good to see around the square. Brings people in. People can come up, grab a bite to eat, have a drink, hang out, whatever. But it seems to have stuck. We see that in Champaign and a lot of other communities. I wasn't sure how it would fit here, but it's been very, very well received, and so we've continued to provide the street closures so that we can offer a space for that, and as long as people are happy and that's going well, then I think the mayor and the council are supportive of that. So, and again, I think Lori would like to try. We had plans to do a barbecue event this fall, and so we're hoping to bring that back next year. But I think Lori's got some good ideas for some other events around the square that would have live entertainment as a piece or a component of that.
The other thing that Charleston has really become known for is biking and hiking, and as a destination. And you look at Lake Charleston and the trails and stuff. What's the next phase or steps that you're going to do to increase better, or what?
Well, I think the Linder Sports Complex was kind of the next phase. We put that paved path in around that interconnects both Sister City, the original property, and then the 45 acres that we acquired from the church to develop the Linder Sports Complex with that paved path intersecting with all the sidewalks and all that. And then that links up to the path that's over there at Sister City that gets you down to the lake. So that was a big project, and I'll tell you that paved path out at Sister City is very popular. We've got a lot of people that walk, they run, they bike on it. A lot of families with kids with little bicycles, and seen people out there in wheelchairs and little motorized scooters, and it's a very popular location for people in our community to use, and I'm happy about that. That's great, but that also affords them then to get on that path and then interconnect with the other, trails around the lake and continue to work on those. So it is a very popular activity. I'm just glad that we've got a nice, safe space for people of all ages and all walks of life to be able to get out there, whether they travel out there by walk, bike, whatever to get there, or if they're able to just, run out there in the car and then use that. I mean, we've got, Brian Daniel.
Yeah.
I saw a Facebook posting where he must bring his dog over
Every day almost.
and they walk the lake and everything else. It's great to see
He's
that.
retired, so he can
I
do
know
that.
he is. I haven't talked to Brian lately, but no, there, you see pictures like that on Facebook from people coming over here, making the drive to come over here to walk our trails and use our facilities, and that's great, and that's a big accomplishment, and we're proud of that.
You probably won't be able to answer this, but is there ways for in the retreat, or as you plan for the future, to monetize that to help the city of Charleston financially as people come and use the bike and hike trails?
Well, I think that park and recreation, outdoor recreation is a tourism. Certainly is a boost for tourism for us, and something that we're looking at. We used Placer AI this fall for a couple of events out there this fall at the Sister City Linder Sports Complex, and that one day where we had the Fall Red and Gold tournament, we had 4,500 or 5,000 unique visitors to that site just in that one day.
Wow.
And then we were able to track where they went prior to and after the event or during the event, and you could tell that the restaurants were full. And so there's some interesting things that we're looking at where we're going to utilize a platform like that to help us market and help us increase participation and traffic to the events like that. And so one of the things that's nice about the Red and Gold is, we're filling the restaurants for the event. It's good for the school. It's good exposure for the university, because again, a lot of times sports or activities like that are what give the high school students their first opportunity to step foot on campus or around campus, and they get a chance to see EIU. So all those things kind of intertwine. And so we see that as being something that we can control. A lot of things we can't, but this is something where we can invest in and see great returns long term.
Okay, great answer. Corbin?
Any more community events planned for the new year that you can talk about?
So that's something, as I mentioned, that Lori's working on, is some additional special events. We're still going to have our concerts in the park. We're going to have the community band. We're going to have all the special events the rec department has, that the egg hunt, the adult egg hunt, all the cool stuff, the red, white, and blue days. I don't know the entertainment yet for the red, white, and blue days, but that's always something that's extremely popular right there around July 3rd and 4th. And so once I know that, I'll be able to report that, but I don't know that yet. And that's typically coming up right after the first of the year. I'm sure that my friend Mike Ziepke knows, but I don't know yet. Mike and Betty Coffrin, they do a great job with that event. So I know they're working on it, but that's always a big event for us. And then, like I said, Lori's going to try to offer some stuff in the fall. So
Too early to think about, but Christmas tree drop-off will be right after Christmas up and through the 3rd. Is that correct for the
I
city?
believe that's correct. Yes. And we did a press release on that, and I
Yeah.
think there's been some Facebook posts on that too.
So you can be looking at that. We always ask every time, any rumors or hints of any new businesses that are knocking on our door or possibly getting
Well,
ready to open? Or
Jeff, I can tell you Insomnia Cookies is going in.
I did hear that one,
Where
yeah.
the
Yes.
Jimmy John's Center is right now, where the former True Blood was. So that's pretty exciting. We have a permit on that, so I can report on that. So I know everybody that's been to Insomnia Cookies up in Champaign. I've had some brought to the house. They're fabulous. So the sweet tooths in town are going to be happy about that. And it's right there near campus, so
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be popular. And they like to be in college communities, so we're excited about that. And then there's a couple of things that are moving forward. We've got the pending sale of the former Lulu site that former Mayor John Inyart's very involved with, and hope to see that proceed forward here in the next 30 to 60 days. I think we'll be able to maybe talk about that a little bit more.
Okay.
And then there's, a couple other things that are percolating out there that I can't talk about, but I wish I could, Jeff.
I know.
But yes, it's
That's good news,
exciting.
though. There's people that
Yeah,
are
it's-
looking and thinking.
It is very exciting that people are looking at Charleston again, and some opportunities for some redevelopment in Lincoln. We've already had quite a bit. As you look up and down Lincoln right now, the Davis Hawk, as I mentioned last time, the Davis Hawk transformation of the former Baldwin Pontiac, it looks fantastic.
Mostly when you're coming into town.
Yeah,
like,
it's the first thing you see,
yeah,
you
it's right
know.
there.
It's not the first thing you see, but I
No,
mean,
I'm
it's,
talking about- yeah, it's right, yeah,
it's,
it
you
looks
know,
nice.
It looks nice. Kirshner is going into the bank there across just kitty corner from that, in the former First Fed location, and Terre Haute First location. That's going to be their corporate office. So they're working on that now. So that space will be filled. You've got the BP.
Yeah, that's really coming up.
Complex
Yeah.
that's really coming out of the ground now. They hope to be open in early January with the new car wash, and then the Jersey Mike's on the east side of that. So we're excited about that. It's already looking great. And then you've got the potential project at Lulu's. You've got the new parachute facility down by Walmart. You've got the new Hux facility that's going to go
What's the
in.
status of the Hux one? Have they given
So,
an idea when they?
They put up a sign here recently, so they're gonna get going soon. So a lot of development in Charleston, millions and millions of dollars new development. So that's exciting.
Ginger,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Ginger Ales. I think I heard a while ago. Is that how still
So
happening?
Ginger Isles bought the bank location over next to Hux. So,
Casey's.
Or I'm sorry, Casey's.
Yeah.
Yes, they're at the corner. So at the former Prairie State Bank location at the corner. So
And Sonic, was the other one you probably can't comment on? I assume, is that the one we heard?
I
Haven't heard Sonic?
cannot comment on
All
that.
right, it's okay. I just had to ask that. One of the questions people always ask, they think that I know, but is like, when the Hux opens in Charleston on Lincoln Avenue, will the other Hux stay open?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. I know that a lot of people have been wondering about that because, I mean, that one up there in I call the downtown area, it's convenient for that area as well.
I can tell you that Hux location up there in the downtown area is
Seems like gold
one of the,
mine.
well, I can tell you, talking with representatives from Hux a few years ago, that is a great performing store for them. They do very well, and so they'll leave that facility open.
That's good news.
Yeah, there's always lots of people when I'm there.
Very popular.
There you go. I want to talk a little bit about being a city manager. Last week we had the leaders of Mattoon on, recall, and Kyle was on about that, and we talked to them. Advice that you give city people when they come in and have a question for you about how you do business, why you did this, why you're not doing this, how you're helping these people, how you're not. Advice that Scott Smith gives folks when they walk into your office and have a sit down with you.
Are you talking about people from outside the community or inside the
Mostly
organization?
inside, 'cause I think those are the
Inside
ones that really should
organization?
have more of a say, in my opinion.
Well, I think right now we're going through that with the Deputy City Manager program that we implemented. Steve Pamperin's the deputy right now, and so spent the last 10 months working very closely with Steve, and I'll spend the next 10 to 12 more months working with Steve. So we have an outside consultant, Jim Arndt. You may know Jim. Jim grew up in Mattoon, but Jim is our consultant, and so we've got a formalized program in place where we've got a deputy now. And so I spend a tremendous amount of time with Steve, almost daily it seems like, anymore anyway, where we're working together, talking about strategies, how we deal with certain things, the process, procedures, and all that. So we're kind of going through that right now. So I've had a chance to work closely with him and next steps, next stages, as he's a potential candidate to fill my shoes when I retire. So, and that goes for any new director. We're going through some transition on retirements and people moving out of the organization have been with us for a long time. So it's time to ramp up, and as we fill those positions, spend a lot of quality time with them, especially early on, just kind of giving them advice and best way to handle certain situations.
It's hard to believe that at the age we grew up together going to high schools in Mattoon and Charleston. So are you, retirement is on the horizon for Scott Smith eventually here?
Yeah, I will have been at the city 34 years in March, so I've got about 36 and a half years in the system. So, yeah, I'm getting close, Jeff. I'm getting there.
I understand. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I'd say the next 12 to, 18 months, somewhere in that range.
Okay.
I'll know it when I figure it out.
There you go. We're talking to Scott Smith today, City Manager of Charleston. The mayor is unable to be here today due to a little bit of illness, so get well, Dr. Combs. We have about 8 minutes left, Scott. Any other things from the city, like job openings or anything that you're looking for as we can help get the word out for 2024?
So right now, we just recently filled a couple positions. So as far as the full-time positions, we're in good shape there. So we had an assistant public works director position. We were open, and the comptroller's position was open, and we're bringing on hopefully someone on the IT side. So, on the administrative side, we're in pretty good shape there. But there's always part-time positions that are open and/or full-time positions, typically union workforce. We're always looking for good police officer and firefighter candidates. So we encourage people to take a look at that. It's a great career path, and certainly something that we would encourage people to look at and investigate, because I think it's a great opportunity. So you can always find those jobs on our website and take a look at those. So, and the springtime is the time we start looking at the part-time workers for CJ's ball crew and the swimming pool for lifeguards and day camp and everything that Diane's got going on. So believe it or not, about 60 days we'll be ramping that process up, trying to get those positions full.
We all get so excited for the holidays to get here, and all of a sudden, like, real life hits you right in the face when January comes back around. Corbin, any questions for?
Yeah. So is there some project that you didn't get to this year that you're like, that's the top of the list for next year? Anything like that?
Oh, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head as far as projects we didn't get done. There's always things we, maybe didn't get done by the end of the calendar year, but we've still got 4 months left. So it's a little early for me to say, because again, we don't operate on a calendar year, we operate on a fiscal year. So we've still got, 4 months left to get some stuff knocked out. So we got a few outdoor construction type projects that we'd like to get done. We've got some road improvement work to do there by the new Hucks location, and probably a little bit over there by the BP. So mill and overlay and do some street work in those locations, and then some additional concrete patching and probably some additional road work in the spring. We're talking about asphalt work, mill and overlay asphalt work that we're doing. So those are things that, just timing wise, weather plays a role in that. They can shut down the plants at a certain time of the year, usually around Thanksgiving. So. But no, we'll get to those. We'll get them done. We'll get them done.
Where are we in the election cycle for your election, the council as well as Mayor Combs?
So the mayor and 2 elected officials will be up. 2 councilmen will be up in the spring of 25.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I always get confused with that. With
we just had an election in the spring of 23, and those 2 ran uncontested. So we'll have the mayor and 2 up in the spring of 25.
Do you foresee any challenges in 2024 in terms of things that could be coming down the pike that could affect you? New laws in Springfield, new laws in Washington, or new rules, regulations, anything like that?
Oh, I always pay attention to Springfield, because it always seems like there's things coming out of Springfield that sometimes you get an oddball, curveball or thing that happens. So, we're always keeping an eye on that. I watch some of the TIF legislation, because TIF's a tool in our toolbox that we use very heavily up and around to take care of our downtown district, and so I oftentimes am worried about additional rules or things that they might put in place that would negatively impact that. We just got that additional extension last year, and so that's something that is really, really near and dear to me, that Steve and I take great pride in, is working with our downtown businesses and making sure that we can provide them with access to funding to help them with facade projects or ADA or things of that nature. And that's really what's helped keep our downtown looking like it does. I'm real proud of it. We've done a lot of work. We continue to do work downtown. Our property owners do a great job of taking care of their properties, and it's attractive. And again, there's a good vibe around the downtown square right now. A lot of good things going on. So we want to keep that going, and so that's one that I really keep an eye on. We're always watching for any changes that might affect police or fire, public service, or funding, shared revenues. Are they going to try to keep another piece of what's supposed to be ours, because that affects, especially on the general fund side, that can have negative implications for us financially. So
I was reading, and some of even the students were talking about something about like for every 40 hours there's an extra
Yeah.
hour. Can you explain what that means maybe for the
So
layperson?
essentially for the part-time workforce, in a nutshell, they're given an hour for every 40 they work, and then they can take that time, they can keep that time. We just had a meeting on this last week. So yeah, we're going to have to implement that. Some governments were exempted from that, but unfortunately municipalities were not.
So if you're a part-time worker next summer, if you work 40 hours, then that gets you another hour of off time or
Get
paid?
you an hour of benefit time paid off, yeah.
Okay.
And so we have to track that time and then offer that time to you to be used during the year. So
There's more paperwork.
Everyone's
we've
favorite.
We've got a good payroll system that can track that. So yeah, that's just another layer of like you said, paperwork or however you want to put it. But yeah,
Red tape is what
yeah,
most people
yeah,
call it.
tracking,
Yeah.
yes. And I understand the concept behind it. So, but it'll have serious implications on Parks and Rec from a financial perspective because, if they take the time off, say while the swimming pool's open, then we'll have to backfill with somebody else. So, it gets expensive.
There you go. A couple minutes left with Scott Smith. Anything else before we go to the World
Yeah.
Famous 8 questions?
So looking back at maybe some of the challenges you've faced in 2023, what is one that you're just like really proud of being able to say like we got through it? Or maybe what is one unique challenge if you don't have one?
I think just the stress of getting the facility opened out at Linder Sports Complex, we felt like we were kind of behind the 8 ball. The weather was not kind to us this summer. If you recall, we got very little rain. So we were struggling with getting the field, getting the turf in, getting everything looking nice prior to getting the facility opened. It was a challenge. It really was. And our team came together that last 30 days, even in that last week or so, to just work their tail off and get it ready for opening.
That's cool. And it was always hot during that term.
It
anyways.
was.
It
It
always-
was.
I can remember that. All right, let's ask some fun questions as we wrap up 2023. Your favorite holiday food, Scott Smith? What do you look forward to?
Oh, my mom makes these little cherry cheesecakes. They're just tremendous. We already talked about it. She'll be here Thursday, so I'm looking forward to that.
There you go. Your go-to beverage of choice during the holidays?
I'm gonna have a handful of those Bud Select 55s.
Okay. Do you make a New Year's resolution?
I don't.
You know? What about you, Corbin? Do you make New Year's?
No, I don't.
Just wondering. All right. Are you a steak or fish person?
I like steak. I like them both, but I guess if I had to choose, I would say steak.
Probably fish.
Okay. How often do you talk to other town leaders like Kyle Gill or somebody in Champaign or one of your cohorts for us to say how often?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
I'm usually in touch with another manager, usually, if not every week, every couple of weeks, and then we meet monthly for lunch. So
Okay, that's cool.
I find that very helpful.
Best thing about Charleston? Put you
I
on the
would
spot.
I would say the best thing about Charleston, at least for me, it's home. And it feels home. People are friendly. I like the community. I like the way the community feels.
Weather-wise, do you think we'll get a lot of snow or very little snow as we look up the next 3
Jeff, I
months?
bought a snow blower last year, and anytime you buy a snow blower, you typically don't use the snow blower, so I'm going to go with very little snow.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming here. We always appreciate all your openness and coming in and talking all things Charleston. Scott, get the mayor healthy for us, all right?
I'm going to try.
So we can have him on maybe mid-year next year. Corbin, have a great holiday break yourself. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
in a few weeks back here on Issues and Attitudes. Again, Scott, thanks. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great holiday season. We'll be back January 8th. We are WEIU.